Well, two of our theme gardens this year focus not on the flowers, but on the foliage. And one of these is our variegated garden. If you look here, you can see that all of the plants in this garden have one thing in common, and that is a variegation of the foliage. Variegated foliage basically means that the leaves, in addition to being green, may have streaks or blotches of cream, yellow, or pink in them. And here, we're using some of these plants that you've seen us use out here before. One is the tricolor sage with its cream, green, and pink variegation. And another plant that we've used with those same colors is the ornamental sweet potato called tricolor. Now, one of the plants that we're really excited about watching perform in our garden is the Stars and Stripes pentas. Now, you'll recall that we've planted pentas out here before and they've done extremely well for us. And these are a little bit more unusual with their green and yellow foliage and their bright red flowers. So we're looking forward to seeing how those perform. Now, we've also got some variegated grasses, and one of those is variegated Japanese silvergrass, and it has the cream and green variegation. Now, this grass actually will grow to be about 5 feet tall, and it is hardy here in Oklahoma. So those should fill out and look very nice for us as the summer moves along. Now, one of the plants that looks really striking right now is the variegated ginger. Now, variegated ginger is not hardy in Oklahoma. However, it does like hot weather, and so it will perform very well for us during this hot summer months, and then we can take it inside over the winter. Now, the ginger will actually grow to be about 3 feet tall, and you can see that the leaves are a striking yellow and green striation, which you can see from across the lawn. Now, you want to make sure to plant this in well-drained soil, but you want to keep the soil moist because it does like water. And also, it should be planted in a partially shaded area. If it receives sun, it should be only morning sun so that it won't get burned by that hot afternoon sun. Well, while we're talking about foliage and variegation, we should take a look at another one of our gardens, which is the foliage and texture garden. So let's go look at that. Now, the idea behind the foliage and texture garden is basically what the name says. The foliage in this garden varies by the way it looks. Either it's larger or smaller. Some of the textures are different. Some are very fine and airy, and some are very large leaves. And also the colors of the foliage differ. And this actually makes a very attractive garden when you put all of these together. And if you look here, it looks kind of jumbled, but all together the garden looks very well and will look nice once it fills in. Now, we've got several interesting plants in this garden that we'll be highlighting through the season, and I just wanted to point out a few of them for you today. And we have two biennials growing in this garden that actually you might usually find in the vegetable garden. And the first one of these is the Angelica, and if you look here, you can see that it has very large, deeply lobed leaves, and that's one of the things that put it in the foliage and texture garden. Now, Angelica, as I said, is a biennial, so the first year it grows as foliage, and the second year it sends up a seed head. Now, the seed head can actually get to be about 6 feet tall on this, and if you don't want Angelica to go to seed in your garden, you'll want to cut that seed head out before it starts to shed its seed. Now, you can actually harvest this when the stalks are young, and people actually candy the stalks to use. Now, another one of the plants that we have in this garden that you saw in our Vegetables Around the World garden last year is the cardoon. And you'll recall that we really liked the leaves. And as you can see here, they have a wonderful gray tint to them, and again have that deep lobing in the leaf. And this is a very good architectural plant, and it works well with some of the other plants that we have in here. Now, so far we've covered some of the larger leaved plants, and we also have some that have very fine leaves, and one of these is a grass. This is known as angel hair or stipa, and if you touch this grass, it actually is as soft as it looks. It's just beautiful, and it just blows with the slightest breeze. Now, stipa is a grass that is actually native to Mexico, Argentina, and the U.S. in Texas and New Mexico. And it will grow about 24 inches tall, and you need to plant it in a well-drained area in full sun, and you need to water it until it becomes established, and then it can withstand a little bit of drought. But it is absolutely a wonderful plant to add some fine texture to your garden. Now, another one of the plants that we have that has fine texture is the dwarf horsetail or equisetum. And if you look very closely, you can see that it really is just a dwarf horsetail here. Now, this is evergreen. It's actually native to Siberia, and so it's a very low growing plant. It only gets about 6 inches tall, and this actually likes to be planted in boggy areas, and you can use it in a small water garden if you want to, because you can submerge it in up to 2 inches of water. Well, we're really excited about our foliage and texture garden, and we'll be coming back and looking at many of the plants as the season progresses.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.